Greetings, everyone. This is Cassandra Faye Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. I'm not going to do much of an intro or anything like that. I'm going to do a short read tonight, 30 minutes, maybe. Since I'm starting late, I'll probably just go ahead and read till 10. So 45 minutes. Sorry I'm late. But anyway, hopefully this Cami has been going in your favor. I still have several things I'm trying to get done before the midnight hour. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So for those of you who are following along, for those of you who do not know, we are currently reading the book Beyond God the Father and Towards a Philosophy of Women's Liberation. Greetings, everyone. Greetings, Balance, Rodney McLeod. So I'm going to get right to it. So those of you who are following along yesterday or day before yesterday, we left off on page 22 on the section entitled Women's Liberation and Revelatory Courage. Greetings, Tajali. I have already indicated that it would be unrealistic to dismiss the fact that the symbolic and linguistic instruments for communication, which include essentially the whole theological tradition in world religions, have been formulated by males under the conditions of patriarchy. It is therefore inherent in these symbolic and linguistic structures that they serve the purposes of patriarchal social arrangements. Even the usual and accepted means of theological dissent have been restricted in such a way that only some questions have been allowed to arise. Many questions that are of burning importance to women now simply have not occurred in the past and to a large extent in the present. Greetings, Annie. To those with credential, many questions that are of burning importance to women now simply have not occurred in the past and to a large extent in the present to those with credentials to do theology. Others may have been voiced timidly, but quickly squelched as stupid, irrelevant, or naive. Therefore, attempts by women theologians now merely to update or to reform theology within acceptable patterns of question asking are not likely to get very far. Moreover, within the context of the prevailing social climate, it has been possible for scholars to be aware of the most crudely dehumanizing texts concerning women in the writings of religious authorities and theologians, from Augustine to Aquinas to Luther to Knox to Barth, and at the same time to treat their unverified opinions on far more imponderable matters with utmost reverence and respect. That is, the blatant misogynism of these men has not been the occasion of a serious credibility gap, even for those who have disagreed on this point. It has simply been ignored and dismissed as trivial. By contrast, in the emerging consciousness of women, this context is beginning to be perceived in its full significance and as deeply relevant to the worldview in which such authorities have seen other seemingly unrelated subjects, such as the problem of God. Hence the present awakening of the hitherto powerless sex demands an explosion of creative imagination that can withstand the disapproval of orthodoxy and overreach the boundaries cherished by conventional minds. The driving revelatory force that is making it possible for women to speak and to hear each other speak more authentically about God is courage. Is courage in the face of the risks that attend the liberation process. Since the projections of patriarchal religion have been blocking the dynamics of existential courage by offering the false security of alienation, that is, of self destruction in sex roles, there is reason to hope for the emergence of a new religious consciousness in the confrontation with sexism that is now in its initial stages. The becoming of women may not only be the doorway to deliverance, which secular humanism has passionately fought for, but also a doorway to something that is a new phase in the human spirit's quest for God. This becoming who we really are requires existential courage to confront the experience of nothingness. All human beings are threatened by non-being. In Tillich's analysis, the resultant anxiety surfaces in relation to the threat of fate and death, guilt and condemnation, and meaninglessness. While Tillich analyzes courage in universalist humanist categories, he does not betray any awareness of the relevance of this to women's confrontation with the structured evil of patriarchy. I am suggesting that at this point in history, women are in the unique sense called to be the bearers of existential courage in society. Okay. Yo. Listen. Okay. She said, I am suggesting at this point in human history that women are in a unique sense called to be the bearers of existential courage in society, y'all. God damn. Listen. That need to be on a shirt. People attempt to overcome the threat of non-being by denying the self. The outcome of this is ironic. That which is dreaded triumphs. For we are caught in the self-contradictory bind of shrinking our being to avoid non-being. Damn. The only alternative is self-actualization, in spite of the ever-present nothingness. Part of the problem is that people, women in particular, who are seemingly incapable of a high degree of self-actualization, have been made such by societal structures that are products of human attempts to create security. Those who are alienated from their own deepest identity do receive a kind of security in return for accepting very limited and undifferentiated identities. Damn. The woman who single-mindedly accepts the role of housewife, for example, may to some extent avoid the experience of nothingness, but she also avoids a fuller participation in being, which would be her only real security and source of community. Submerged in such a role, she cannot achieve a breakthrough to creativity. Many strong women are worn out in the struggle to break out of these limits before reaching their higher levels of intellectual discovery or of creativity. The beginning of a breakthrough means a realization that there is an existential conflict between the self and the structures that have given such crippling security. This requires confronting the shock of non-being with the courage to be. Greetings, Carlotta. This requires confronting the shock of non-being with the courage to be. It means facing the nameless anxieties of fate, which become concretized in loss of jobs, friends, social approval, health, and even life itself. Also Also involved is the anxiety of guilt over refusing to do what society demands, a guilt which can hold one in its grips long after it has been recognized as false. Finally, there is an anxiety of meaninglessness, which can be overwhelming at times when the old simple meanings, role definitions, and life expectations have been rooted out and rejected openly, and one emerges into a world without models. God damn. Oh my God. Oh, damn. Oh my God. Shit. This confrontation with the anxiety of non-being is revelatory, making possible the relativization of structures that are seen as human products and therefore not absolute or ultimate. It drives consciousness beyond fixation upon things as they are. Courage to be is the key to the revelatory power of the feminist evolution. Now, what does she say in Pure Lust? The courage to be is to the courage to sin. I can't listen now, but looking forward to catching up later. That's what's up, Pinwheel Art. Next section, struggle towards self-transcendence. The drive towards transcendence can be envisaged mythically in different but interrelated ways. This point has been made in an original way by Herbert Richardson, whose typology I am relating to sex role socialization in the following analysis. The myth of separation and return, going away and coming home again, like Ulysses, is obviously a cyclic vision, and it is often bound up with the parental images. Birth means separation from the mother, but the child immediately returns to its parents in its dependency for the necessities of life. Popular Christianity envisages human life in these terms as well, looking forward to a return to the Father in heaven. The theme of Exodus Reditus, exit and return, was commonly used in medieval theology to describe the human relationship to God. Although this theme was developed in a subtle and intricate way, and although the journey did involve transformation through grace, the imagery of return that was attached to it lent itself easily to an attitude of detachment from social injustice. Taken on the imaginative level, the myth of separation and return reflects quite well the limited sort of transcendence that has been the only possibility for most women in the course of history. Separation from the home of the parents, only to return to the paternalistic domination in the home of the husband. Woo! The eternal circle. Greetings, daily positive affirmation, Akim Bangala. The eternal circle of separation from and return to infantile dependence has been the story of the feminine mode of existence. Yo. Another kind of transcendence myth has been the dramatization of human life in terms of conflict and vindication. This focuses upon the situation of oppression and the struggle for liberation. God, oh my God. Woo! Listen. Oh. Damn. Goddamn. Goddamn. It is a short-circuited transcendence when the struggle against oppression becomes an end. God damn it. It is a short-circuited transcendence when the struggle against oppression becomes an end in itself, the focal point of all meaning. There is an inherent contradiction in the idea that those devoted to a cause have found their whole meaning in the struggle. Oh my God. So that the desired victory becomes implicitly, oh fuck. Woo, y'all, goddamn. Shh. Mm-mm. There is an inherent contradiction in the idea that those devoted to a cause have found their whole meaning in the struggle, so that the desired victory becomes implicitly an undesirable meaninglessness. Oh my God. God damn. Yo. Let me tell you. Greetings tomorrow. Let me tell y'all. Y'all probably won't remember. But some time back, I forget the name of the video. It was like I think that maybe a year, maybe 2 years back, I did a video called something to the effect of what would we be without oppression? What would we be without oppression? You heard? And in this live that I did easily 2 years ago, maybe longer than that. But in this live that I did, I talked about this very thing. How I start out by saying I had been going through some changes, right? Because I mean what I say. When I say I want the world to be made well, I want to be involved in a process that ensures that the world is made well, that we become whole again. All of us, the whole planet becomes whole again, right? And I mean that shit for real. I don't mean it like play. I don't mean like it sound good or any of that shit. Like I mean it. I've lost relationships over how serious I'm about it. This is it. And so in thinking about this world that I'm actively trying to create, I had this moment years ago where I was like, we become so attached to our identifiers. We become so attached to the labels we impose upon ourselves or the others impose on us. But we begin to, we become hogtied to our labels, to our identifiers. So much so that we fear evolution. We don't think about it this way, but we fear evolution. We fear success. We fear becoming because we are not comfortable with the idea that our labels may change. Remember, a few days ago, I was telling you how it was so crazy. Like this was 2 days ago, how everything this week had been taking me back to my name, taking me back to almost 2 years ago now that I changed my name back to Cassandra, taking me back to the contradiction that I had with the man who actually gave me my African name. All of this shit came up this week, right? Stop it. Stop. All of this stuff came up this week. Went out to study today because today is the Mercury Cami, and it was just like a flood of stuff coming through. affirming again that's why tomorrow, the temple service, I named it We Are the Fates, right? It is because my name keeps coming up all week. My name keeps coming up, right? And so part of the struggle, because I told y'all it took me several years to find, even though I've been getting messages, I had been seeing signs about the urgency of changing my name back to my birth name. I resisted for so long. And it was partly because of this. I told y'all, as Iapo, as the Black nationalist, African internationalist, socialist, goddamn revolutionary named Iapo, I was like, I did a lot of shit as Iapo. Everybody that I've met in the last 20 years met me as Iapo. You understand? Iapo the revolutionary, Iapo to this, Iapo to that, right? And so it was a real struggle. It was a real emotional and spiritual battle to finally concede and understand the urgency and the importance of taking my name back, right? So the name Iapo was my label. That's why it was so hard. And that label was fortified by 40 to 60 hour work weeks inside a veteran revolutionary organization. It was fortified by failures and successes inside that organization. It was fortified through marriage to another revolutionary. And so I had a hard time relinquishing that label, right? And so in the video that I talked about before from a couple of years ago, when I was talking about who are we without oppression? Once we create the world that we say we want to create, that we want to make real, will there be a need for us? Go back and watch the video, but I'm paraphrasing. Will there be a need for us to call ourselves revolutionaries, activists, healers? My work right now, the thing that keeps me fed, is my label as a healer, my label as a doctor. But the world that I want to create, the world that I want to see made real, in that world, there won't be a need for 1 million motherfucking doctors, for 5 million motherfucking doctors in a world made well, in a world fully healed and transformed. There will be no incentives to keep people just sick enough to keep them coming back. And I was like, damn, if I'm genuinely serious, genuinely honest, genuinely convicted about what I want to see, what I see, what I know can be made real, will I be comfortable if I have to change, quote, my occupation, if I'm not needed anymore as a healer? And will I welcome it? Will I welcome this world that does not need me in that capacity anymore? Right? In a world that I want to see made real, will my skin be a label that is a primary identifier in who I am as a human and what my value is in society as a human? Will I have to be so hardcore in my staunch position about my Blackness and my femaleness in this future I want to see made real? And how are we in this walk we're doing, where we're saying that we want to change the world? Can we let go of, in this world we want to make real, can we let go of the idea that in this future that we're currently creating, there'll be no need for world changers? There'll be no need for revolutionary activists. There'll be no need for rebels. There'll be no need And here she's saying, and the reason I'm talking about this video I did 2 years ago, and my label as a Yapo, and how hard it was for me to let go of that label. But there was something I was being taught. There were many things, actually. I was being taught in this transition from Iapo to Cassandra, this necessary transition of re-becoming Cassandra. And here she say, God damn. It is a short-circuited transcendence because we love our labels, y'all. We love them. We take pride in them. We wear them as patches on our jackets. We wear them as bumper stickers on our cars. We want the world to know that there is something different about me than the norm. But how attached are you to your labels? That your labels might be important right now to identify who, is same. But in this world that we are generating in real time, will it be easy for you to say, okay, we won. Now I'm not a revolutionary anymore. There ain't no need for it. We won. Now I'm not a doctor no more. I can do something the fuck else because we won. And the evidence of it is the wellness and the happiness and the wholeness of the group, of the whole. And she say, there is an attachment to these labels because it gives us, what did she say about the previous statement? A sense of transcendence. Because again, the urge of the human being, the thing that we dread the most is non-being, is our life having no meaning. And so in this fear of non-being and meaninglessness in our existence, we attach to things that give us some sense of transcendence. We will even spiritualize these things that give us some sense of meaning in our chronic evading and avoiding of non-being. Because the first thing she talked about is the housewife, is the leaving, the exiting of your first home to return to your patriarchal home in the form of husband, wife, children, and you managing everything, right? The second thing she says as another, kind of transcendence is the myth. Let's see, another kind of transcendence myth has been dramatization of human life in terms of conflict and vindication. Conflict and vindication. This focuses upon the situations of oppression and the struggle for liberation. It is a short-circuited transcendence when the struggle against oppression becomes an end in and of itself. The focal point of all meeting becomes the goddamn struggle. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Okay. The focus point of everything that gives our life transcendent meaning is the struggle. Yo, when I tell you this is really an okey doke that has been pulled the fuck on us. Okay? Yo. I used to be in the movie, yo, and we would greet each other. We'd be like, Uhuru, comrade. Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. Uhuru, comrade, how you doing? All you know ain't nothing up but the struggle. This is a greeting. Living for the struggle. Huh? This is bell casting we've been doing. Living for the struggle. You feel me? What is it? What they say? Unity in struggle. Huh? I heard a woman do a presentation, a radical, a black nationalist, do a presentation. And when one of the people in the audience asked her, like, can we have a joyful revolution? Like, does it always have to be about suffering and the struggle and shit? Strength and struggle, all that shit, right? She was like, until we win, it is important to struggle. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. The young person looking to her for leadership say, can we win without struggle? Can we win like in another way? Like, can we make a revolution without the struggle ideology? And the elder teaching the crew said, no, I welcome struggle. Until we free the struggle is real. The struggle is, she say right here, it is a short-circuited transcendence. It makes us feel good to talk about the struggle. It makes us feel good. It becomes our identifier, how sufficiently and efficiently we can struggle. She say it makes us feel good. That's why I had such a hard time letting go of Iapo. It makes us feel good to struggle. Iapo means, my African name meant, she who has been through many struggles. That's what my African name meant. She who has been through many struggles is on a journey and struggles for her people. And for 20 years, myself and everybody who knew me as Iapo was speaking that into the universe as my goddamn destiny. She who has been through many struggles is on a journey and struggles for her people. That's what my name is. We feel good when we align ourselves with how efficiently we can struggle. She say it's a short-circuited transcendence when the struggle against oppression becomes the end in and of itself, the focal point of all meaning, not the impending victory. That's not the focal point. That's never the focal point. Mao Zedong said it too. So as long as one goes on tolling the bell, one will forever remain a monk. He was talking about movement for movement's sake, not movement because every day in front of us all the time is the inevitable victory. That ain't what movement is about. Because we begin to believe that if we win, we won't be relevant anymore. Who will I be in this world where all is made well? That's what she said right here. She said it's a short-circuited transcendence when the struggle against oppression becomes the end in and of itself, the focal point of all meaning. There is an inherent contradiction in the idea that those devoted to a cause have found their whole meaning in the struggle, so that the desired victory becomes implicitly an undesirable meaninglessness. Do you hear what I just said? The reason we have not achieved victory is because the struggle is everything. The struggle has defined us. The struggle is what gives us our badges of honor. The struggle is how people come to see us as strong, and we're perseverant. You understand? We power through no matter the adversity and shit. So the victory never comes because it is not what is at the center. This victory that we see, this victory that is real in our mind's eye all the time, and everything fueling it, everything fitting into it, every action, every protest, everything is intricately and directly tied to the victory that is certain. Child, I'm in my feelings about this. Let's see what y'all talking about over here. Janet Kennedy. She say, love and peace. The Bible had me thinking I'm supposed to be struggling. I felt pitiful before recognizing I don't have to be bound. Now I am free to change and free to choose my choice and loving it. Yes. Who else over here on IG said something? I started following you a couple of months ago and the mother speaks through you. Peace. Gabrielle Ray, thank you so much for that. Yes. Maybe this is a whole word right here. She said, the struggle becomes everything, and the victory becomes, at least in our subconscious mind, becomes meaningless and undesirable. We don't want victory because we are afraid of what that will mean for our labels, for how we identify. Who will you be without oppression? Who will you be without having to, quote, fight the power? Who will you be in a world made well? And most people ain't comfortable with that. Not genuinely. You ain't out here trying to get up in this motherfucking uncomfortable goddamn shadow work so that you are not married, permanently bound to your labels and identifiers, that you can move like water and shift with the tide, change with the weather if it's necessary. Child, I'm trying to give y'all a word right now. Such a truncated vision is one of the pitfalls of theologies of the oppressed. Just like the sister just said. The theologies of the oppressed that teach you you're supposed to struggle, that teach you you're supposed to be bound, that teach you the better you struggle, the better your odds are when you in the afterlife. She just said it. Sometimes Black theology, for example, that of James Cone, resounds with a cry for vengeance and is fiercely biblical and patriarchal. It transcends religion as a crutch, the separation and return of much old-fashioned Negro spirituality, but tends to settle for being religion as a gun, tailored to fit only the situation of racial oppression. Tailored to fit only the situation of racial oppression, it inspires a will to vindication, but leaves unexplored other dimensions of liberation. It does not get beyond the sexist models internalized by the self and controlling society, models that are at the root of racism. And that perpetuate it. The Black God and y'all goddamn. The Black God and Black Messiah apparently are merely the same patriarchs after a pigmentation operation, their behavior unaltered. Yo, my God. Listen, this old white woman, no wonder everybody hated her. Now, I think I told y'all during the reading of Pure Lust, you got to go read about Mary Daly. You feel me? You got to read the wiki page on her. You got to hear some lectures that have been done about Mary Daly because people was mad. People did not like Mary Daly. You feel me? Here she was, a woman who was a devout Roman Catholic turned radical feminist. You feel me? And baby, she came out the church guns blazing. Was she on the front of this book with a goddamn double-edged axe? This old white woman came out the church swinging the double-edged labors. You feel me? Listen, here, she was cocky. Because this is a cocky-ass statement for a white woman to be making in the 1970s. Hell, even today. If we heard a white woman, a white intellectual talking about, look, I understand the need, you feel me, for tailoring, the use of the Bible to address your immediate oppression, which is racial oppression. And it does inspire the will to vindicate, like Nat Turner, like Harriet Tubman, like Marcus Garvey, who are all Christians, but who used, what did she say? The theology used the religion as a gun, as a weapon that was tailored to fit the situation of racial oppression. And she said that in itself ain't necessarily wrong. But what does she say? What? It doesn't go deep enough. What have I been talking to y'all about for 4 years now? She says that the root of racism is patriarchy. Not the other motherfucking way around. The root of racism is patriarchy. So you can use theology like Nat Turner did, and he went up, he did his thing. His God of the Bible told him, raise everything to the goddamn ground and kill everybody in sight. You feel me? It served the purpose. But she's saying you won't get past that if you are still perpetuating the patriarchal model. Okay. She said, because the root of racism is patriarchy, the black God and the black Messiah apparently are merely the same patriarchs after a pigmentation operation, their behavior unfucking altered. Listen, somebody better clap their motherfucking hands up in here. Somebody better clap their hands. Somebody better clap their goddamn hands. Somebody better clap their hands. I ain't going no further till one of y'all motherfuckers clap y'all hands. That's a word. My homegirl in Texas is a teacher, and she used to say all the time, and I used to get an attitude because I was never a pick me, but I was one of those women that was, especially when I was young in the Black Power circles, I was one of those ones who was really desperate for affection from a brother inside the organization. And I'm saying a brother in general. I was looking for companionship in a black man inside my organization. So here I am, this black woman in a militant revolutionary organization. I'm a good looking woman and still can't get a boo from a dude, you feel me, inside the organization with the same political worldview that I got. And I was like, well, damn, something must be really fucking wrong with me that the brothers don't want me and shit. You feel me? I was really in my emotions about that shit. And it's all after the fact, years and years and years and years later, that it was power in a female body that was unattractive to them, that repelled them from me. It was power housed in a black female body that had me up in that motherfucker 12 years of my life, lonely and single and shit. You feel me? And so here she say, and my homegirl, who used to be in the same organization, used to say all the time, and I used to get mad because I believed in brothers. I believed in the revolution under the leadership of brothers. I did. You feel me? And she said, baby, look, I love the party. You feel me? But my commitment only goes so deep. She said, because it didn't take me long. She was in the organization close to long as I was. She said, there's only so much of a commitment I'm going to make because I see this shit. She said, these black men could stage a motherfucking revolution tomorrow. They could stage the revolution tomorrow, win the revolution tomorrow. And under the conditions of the mentality of the men that are inside political revolutionary organizations, the conditions of black women and children would not change at all. Baby, that's what she just said. Here, my homegirl was like, Yapo, you put too much faith in these dudes. You feel me? I get it. The line is great. I love the party, but I'm only going to go so deep with these motherfuckers. You feel me? I see the writing on the wall. As long as men in power up in this shit, they cool. As soon as a woman, because she had the same problem. She was never in a relationship with a brother inside the motherfucking movement. I didn't even recognize that it was a tendency. That the only women who the quote brothers in the movement was attracted to were new people coming into the organization who did not yet know the line, who were not yet informed about how the line emboldens and empowers women. You feel me? And so it was power that was the repellent to black men inside the organization. It was power that was the repellent. You feel me? And so she used to say that shit. She was like, girl, you in too deep. Because these motherfuckers could stage a revolution tomorrow and wouldn't shit change for black women and children. We'd still be out here fucked up in the game. With the mentality these so-called leaders got right now, we'd still be out here fucked up in the game. Get what you need and go on about your life. You feel me? So anyway, this old ass recovering Catholic goddamn radical feminist in 1973 say, look, I get it. You feel me? You got to use what you got to use in the moment. She said, but if you don't do a deep analysis of how you got here, Racism is not your motherfucking problem. Patriarchy is your problem. And it gave birth to all the isms. Everything that's got your life fucked up in the game, patriarchy gave birth to. The male mother gave birth to. And so you can use the religion to address the situation of racial oppression, and it inspires and it will inspire to vindication. Yeah, get your licks in. You feel me? But leaves unexplored the other dimensions necessary for liberation. It does not get beyond the sexist models internalized by the self and the controlling society, models that are at the root of racism and that perpetuate it. The Black God and the Black Messiah apparently are merely the same patriarchs after a pigmentation operation, their behaviors left unaltered. Fortunately, the danger that the new spiritual consciousness of women will be truncated in, fortunately, the danger that the new spiritual consciousness of women will be truncated in a similar way is greatly reduced by the fact that the stereotypically male symbols of Christianity do not lend themselves to this kind of easy adaptation for feminism. There is less opportunity for us to fall into facile repetition of the same mistakes. With the rise of feminism, women have indeed come to see the necessity. I'm through with Mary Daly, y'all. I gotta be through with this woman. She just do too much. She do too motherfucking much. Damn. Listen, Mary Daly said, look, with the rise of feminism, women have indeed come to see the necessity of conflict. With the rise of feminism, women have indeed come to see the necessity of conflict, of letting rage surface. You hear me? Of letting rage surface and of calling forth a will to liberation. Yet, partially because there is such an essential contrast between feminism and patriarchal religion's destructive symbols and values, and partially because women's lives are intricately bound up with those of men, biologically, emotionally, socially, and professionally. It is quite clear that women's liberation is essentially linked with full human liberation. Women generally can see very well that the movement will self-destruct if we settle for vengeance. Oh, God damn. She didn't say don't get vengeance. She said don't stop there. You hear what I'm saying? She said she didn't say don't vindicate yourself in a response to racial oppression. Go deeper. She didn't say don't get vengeance. She said don't stop there. Because vengeance is not enough. You hear me? Listen, this shit right here is too many things. Women can generally see very well that the movement will self-destruct if we settle for vengeance. The more imminent danger then is that some women will seek premature reconciliation, not allowing themselves to see the depth and the implications of feminism's essential opposition to sexist society. It can be easy to leap on the bandwagon of human liberation without paying the price in terms of polarizations, tensions, risks, and pain that the ultimate objective of real human liberation demands. Listen, listen. She say, look, I ain't saying put the cart before the horse. I ain't saying human liberation, like we all need to be liberated. She's saying women need to be liberated first. God damn it. That's what need to happen first. Because intrinsically linked to the liberation of women is the liberation of the whole entire human population, and by extension, the whole goddamn planet. Every living creature on it. Yep, the whole planet. So she's saying, you understand, there will be women, you feel me, caught up in this, we're on this together philosophy, you feel me? Now, of course, I'm paraphrasing. She said, but the more imminent danger then is that some women will seek a premature reconciliation. How are you going to reconcile when the problem has not been adequately addressed? Boy, if you don't get your butt down, y'all doing too much right now. Y'all always want to cut the clown once I'm doing something. Get down. Get down. Turkey, get down. Get down. Y'all, they is cutting up. Oh, they cutting up. It's just like this new thing over the last week. They just cutting up. Okay? Anyway. She said, these women will seek a premature. It's like that shit I keep telling y'all. It's a strategy to demoralize you. Whenever you see some dude or some person who had committed some crime against some other and like killed somebody or something, and you see person after person at his trial talking about, I forgive you. That motherfucker didn't ask for forgiveness. He didn't ask for forgiveness. And even if he had, which he didn't, but even if he had, you cannot extend forgiveness before retribution, before rectification, before vengeance. Where's the justice in that? You're just gonna extend forgiveness, one, to a person who ain't even sorry, who ain't even said, "Will you forgive me?" You feel me? They ain't even said that. But you ain't even done anything energetically that balances this gruesome act against you and yours. There ain't been no leveling. There hasn't been a rectification, a re-swinging of the goddamn pendulum. Much less the fact this motherfucker ain't even asked you for forgiveness time after time after time. You see some black person talking about, I forgive you. You killed my daughter, but I forgive you. The hell? You killed my child, but I forgive you. Mm-mm. 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 That is a lie straight from hell. And they do that to us, play that shit damn near in reels all day, all day, all day, is extending blind forgiveness with no justice. I was thinking about, what's his name? Peter Tosh today. I don't even know why. It just came up in my head. And the line that came up in my head, I was like, I might need to do a live about this. I don't want no peace. I remember what made me think about it. I was scrolling through damn Instagram, and no, I wasn't. I was watching a video, an astrologer, and he said, this is a really powerful time, talking about this Cassandra today. This is a really powerful time to pray for peace in the Middle East. And as soon as he said, I was offended when he said it. I was offended when he said it. This is a powerful opportunity for us to pray for peace. No. And that's when I heard in my head, almost as an immediate response, and I haven't heard this song in like 20 years, I don't want no peace. I want equal rights and justice. That's what Peter Tosh said. That's what Peter Tosh said. I don't want no peace. I want equal rights and justice. I've got to get it. Equal rights and justice. Yes. Have you caught up on some blind forgiveness and can't figure out why you are sick? Why cancer runs rampant through the whole planet? There's nothing that has happened that has calmed the acid in our blood caused by our suppressed rage. There ain't been nothing, no action, no nothing that has been done collectively to harmonize the rampant acid pumping through our goddamn brains, through our veins, caused by suppressed rage, always boiling just below the goddamn surface. She said, look. And so she said, the same thing gonna happen with women. We'll sell out the clique for a little peace, for a little comfort. You feel me? Well, he was fucking me up all the time. He was punching me in my stomach so I wouldn't get bruises on my face. You know, he broke my ribs several times, and shit. But he did say he was sorry. He did say he did say, "Oops, my bad. It'll never happen again." And so, for a little bit of peace, what'd she say? The threat to the whole liberation movement is that the more imminent danger is that some women will seek premature reconciliation, not allowing themselves to see the depth and implications of feminism's essential opposition to this sexist society. It can be easy to leap on the bandwagon of human liberation without paying the price in terms of polarization, of tension, of risks, and pain that the ultimate objective of real human liberation demands. What she said? Human liberation demands risk taking, tension creating, polarization making, pain administering. Because we didn't took a lot of pain. Now we got to administer some. That's what she say. We got to administer some if we serious about liberation. That's what the fuck she said, y'all. She said, the courage to be is the key to the revelatory power of the feminist revolution. The courage to be. Huh? What'd she say earlier? Because I'm about done with this. She said, I am suggesting that at this point in history, women are in a unique sense called to be the bearers of existential courage in society. We have to be the courage definers. We have to be the exemplars of courage. Yep. She said, we're going to have to wreck this bitch. She said, we're going to have to use these goddamn labors and trash everything in sight. That's what she said. And women going to have to do that. Because what the goddamn conditioning has done through the incessant suppression of collective rage and grief is turned 3 generations into cowards, terrorized through terror campaigns, terrorized to do anything to end our suffering. That's what's happening. She says, so women gonna have to be the ones to get out here and be the exemplars of goddamn unbridled courage, baby. She said, what did she say? She said, that we be afraid. What did she say? Where's that? She says somewhere, we are fearful. I can't find the quote. I'm gonna have to go back. She said, but we fearful of allowing our rage to come to the surface. We are afraid to put our rage on display, baby. That's what she said. We have been terrorized into not letting our rage come to the surface and spill the fuck over. That's what she said. Yeah, where that said? Child, this reading got me in my feelings. Yeah, she went in. She went in. She went in. She went in. What y'all be saying at the poetry slams? Go off, poet. Go off. You understand? She said that. She said we are constantly conflicted over grief, over shame, over anxiety. over role definitions, life expectations. Mm-hmm. Yup. Yo, this old white woman went in tonight. Mm-hmm. So let me just finish up this last little segment and I'll leave y'all alone. I got other stuff to do. Yeah, she say we run the risk because women, have a legitimate fear of the shit that's been imposed on us. That video, no men here. The women were afraid but came together as a whole. Are you talking about the movie No Men Beyond This Point? Or is this a different movie? Oh no, you talking about in the village, the in Kenya, the land of no men. Is that the one you're talking about, Janet? Janet Kennedy. Anyway, let me go ahead and finish up this section. I'm gonna leave y'all alone. Okay. All right. Okay. And she said a third myth of transcendence, still using Richardson's typology, is integrity and transformation. Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Within this perspective, the individual seeks self-transformation and spiritual rebirth. I knew I wasn't ready. This involves the becoming of psychic unity, which stop. Of psychic unity, which means that one does not have to depend upon another for complementarity, but can love independently. Richardson's analysis in this essay hints at, but does not quite convey explicit recognition that such independence means the becoming of psychologically androgynous human beings, since the basic crippling complementarity has been the false masculine-feminine polarity. Androgynous integrity and transformation will require that women cease to play the role of complement and struggle to stand alone as free human beings. Child, you is doing the app. These two is so extra. But she won't let me hold her. Why? She'll let me hold her for a half a second. She's starving for attention, but won't let me hold her for long. What you want, girl? This is Tempest, you guys. This is Tempest. Hey, boo baby. Yes. See, she got to go. You feel me? Trifling. Just need the attention, but won't let me hold her. Come here, boy. This is Storm. This is Storm. Ooh, he's so fine. Now he is a squishy little love nugget. He a little lap kitty. As long as you giving out love, he gonna hold up and take it. His little cutie patootie self. Look at that belly. Oh, this belly, baby. Anyway, child. Listen. Okay, Harper, how you doing? Yeah. Omitosine, how you doing? Aisha H. Jackson, Missionary Nonstop, Mission Nonstop 21. Mary went off, y'all. I'll probably read a little bit more. Yeah, I'll read until 10:30 and then I'll let y'all go. Non-being, power of being, and hope. The striving towards psychic wholeness. Listen, let me just stop. What was she just saying in this last paragraph? The third myth of transcendence that I'm always going off about, which defines all of California. Is what Mary Daly, Barbara Moore was talking about in the Great Cosmic Mother. She said, especially with white women, Western white women, what they do, they seek spirituality that is not connected to anything in the real world. They want to transcend above everybody else's suffering to find a spiritual experience. That's what you just said. They want to seek self-transformation and spiritual rebirth as independent. I'm my own person in spite of everybody else. That's why you can have all these spiritual people around the world, you understand, that are wealthy, you understand, to go to yoga retreats and spiritual, go to ashrams and all this shit. Child, listen. The striving towards psychic wholeness or androgyny incorporates the insights and clues in the less adequate modes of envisioning transcendence. The separation and return motif, at its best, pointed to the dimensions of depth of inhuman existence. Its basis lay in intimations of holiness of what is. The vision is that it entailed, however, often tended to be non social. Come on, non social and abstracted from history. Listen, y'all. Or, to borrow somewhat out of context a phrase from Maltman, the non historical mysticism of the solitary soul. Of the solitary soul. It's, at its best, this ontological sacramental faith gave a kind of interior freedom. A high point of cyclic theological expression was the Thormistic synthesis. The conflict and vindication motif rests more upon a kind of moral faith, an intimation of the holiness of what ought to be. See, the first one was about what is. This one is about what ought to be, based on a set of moralisms. You feel me? It too has tended to be individualistic. This is an ongoing theme. Where my pen at? Individualism is opportunism. Come on. Don't y'all be laughing at me. Child, listen. Okay. She say, it too has tended to be the conflict and vindication motif, has tended to be individualistic, and with the help of Kant, has bred a kind of split level consciousness in which personal struggles for transcendence can exist side by side with social. Y'all, I gotta be through. Listen. The conflict and vindication motif rests upon a kind of moral faith, an intimation of the holiness of what ought to be, not what is, what ought to be. It too has tended to be individualistic. With the help of Kant, it has bred a kind of split level consciousness in which personal struggles for transcendence can exist side by side with social conformity. Yo, in the recently developed theology of hope. Oh, y'all, goddamn. The conflict and vindication motif is stop. Motif, let's see, is brought to a level of social concern that transcends some of the limitations of the Protestant ethic. Yet, the ontological dimension of the holiness of what is generally rejected as Hellenic and unbiblical. I am suggesting that the vision of human becoming as a process of integration and transformation, as this vision is emerging in the women's revolution, potentially includes both the individualistic ontological dimension of depth and revolutionary participation in history. It does this precisely because it strikes at the externalized structures and internalized images of patriarchy. Come on in the room. Listen. I am suggesting that the vision of human becoming as a process of integration and transformation, as this vision is emerging in the women's revolution, potentially includes both the individualistic ontological dimension of depth and revolutionary participation in history. It does this precisely because it strikes at both the externalized structures and internalized images of patriarchy that have cut us off from realizing psychic wholeness in ourselves, in our actual whole ass material bodies, and consequently have cut down our capacity for genuine participation in human history. Yo, I need an organ in the room with some shit. You feel me? Goddamn. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Listen, when I was in the party, the chairman used to talk all the time about what colonialism has done, right? Is it has, in a very short period of time in human history, it has transformed the smallest group of humans on earth, white people, white-skinned people, right? It has transformed their existence, right, in its antagonisms to the rest of the world, where they forever go down in history as the subjects of history, while the rest of us become the objects of history. You understand? Baby, baby, baby. She said that. The seeds of such synthesis were present to some extent in Tillich's vision, especially as expressed in The Courage to Be. It's a book by, I think his name is Robert Tillich, The Courage to Be, right? Even though this was not developed as a political theology. As he explains, existential courage is dynamic and it has two sides. The courage to be, the courage to be as a self, and the courage to be as a part. I suggest that such courage makes creative, communal, revolutionary hope possible to the extent that the courage is expressed in confrontation with earthly powers and principalities that embody non-being in our patriarchal culture. It is this dimension of confrontation that makes courage give rise to creative hope. Y'all, goddamn. Hope can only come from she said, look, hope can only come from confrontation. Hope can only come from confrontation. She said that. I suggest that such courage makes creative, communal, revolutionary hope possible to the extent that the courage is expressed in confrontation. That's what she said. And motherfucking protesting is not confrontation, baby. So ain't. Listen. What makes revolutionary hope possible is courage expressed in confrontation. What did she say? In confrontation with earthly powers and principalities that embody non-being in our patriarchal culture. It is this dimension of confrontation that makes courage give rise to creative hope. Y'all, she was never playing no games. She wasn't playing no games. This synthesis of hope and courage, potentially in the dynamics of the feminist revolution, includes separation in return, since by breaking, by breaking from the past and consciously creating our own history, we change the past. We change the past that is, change and expand our understanding of it. Listen, oh my God. Okay, let me take a note, y'all. Goddamn. Telling y'all, this week has been something to behold, to behold. What's today's date? 6/14/2024. 10/28. Y'all, I cannot believe this shit right here. Yo, I hope y'all are watching. And I ain't talking about me. I hope you are watching your life. I hope you are paying attention to your life, to those moments that seem small or unimportant. I hope you are watching your life right now. I hope you are paying attention to your dreams right now. I hope that you are listening to the whisper right now. This week has been something to behold. Yo, oh my God. Today has been a day of days, y'all. Listen, this synthesis of hope, let's see, I'm a little confused. Is she saying people have basically created a pseudo transformation that people become trapped in without realizing they are still playing by patriarchal rules? Zoe, Noel, that's exactly what she's saying. That's why I said we've been caught up. I was for 12 years. What did she say just 2 pages ago? Where the struggle becomes everything and we actually work against the victory. We work against the victory because we are tied to. This is through our conditioning. This is through this relationship to patriarchal religions. We are conditioned to accept that there's glory in struggle. There's honor in struggle. We become defined by our capacity to struggle. Yeah. That's what she said. We caught up, even the most woke of us. We still caught up, y'all. That's why Mary Daly be punching bitches in the jaw. That's why we get punched in the jaw. That's why wigs get snatched every time we read something this woman wrote. People leave like they went to battle when I do a reading of Mary Daly's work. Because she was like, look, no matter what did she say when she was talking about using religion as a weapon? She said, don't stop. Don't stop where you think you are. Don't stop at using religion as a weapon to address or to give vindication against racial oppression, because racial oppression is not the problem. The seed of racial oppression is patriarchy. And if you use your tools, struggle, movement, and shit to just fight for what? To end racism, to fight to end oppression against others, to fight to but you don't get to the root. We caught up. The vision becomes, what did she say? The vision of liberation becomes, what did she call it? Becomes meaningless and undesirable because your view of yourself, your label is tied to struggling, not to victory. The label as revolutionary is not tied to victory. We don't call ourselves something that is tied to an imminent victory. We call ourselves revolutionary because inherent in it is the cyclical needing. Every generation got to have a goddamn revolutionary movement. Every generation got to have a goddamn revolutionary movement because the victory has never been in the center of revolutionary work. The vision of the future has never been the center of revolutionary work. That's why we still say shit like, pray for peace. We struggle for peace. It does not take courage to call for peace. It takes courage to call for vengeance. It takes courage to call for justice. It takes courage to implement confrontation that gives hope to the many. Yup. She said, we so scared for the focal point to be anything other than struggle because it will redefine who we are when struggle is no longer, quote, necessary. Yes, I don't think racism, wouldn't have gone to the lengths that it did if people didn't have a certain vendetta against Black women in particular, and making sure we're long suffering. Okay, Nikki. You understand? Zoe? She said, I'm new to this. Well, welcome. Come on in the room. You feel me? She said, this synthesis of hope and courage, potentially in the dynamics of the feminist revolution, includes separation and return, since by breaking from the past, and consciously creating our own history, we change the past. That is, change and expand our understanding of the past. This separation and return happens, for example, when we establish the significance of events that historians have disregarded, such as the achievements of great women and major landmarks in history of the oppression of women. The synthesis also includes conflict and vindication, not in the sense of attempting to reduce those in power to objects, but in the sense of breaking down the masculine feminine models thrust upon us by these powers and principalities that shrink the human potential of both women and men. Yo. Listen. Okay. Remember, I was talking maybe last week, 4 days ago, 5 days, a week ago, I don't know. But I was talking about, as a matter of fact, it was a clip, a 1 hour clip that I did from an old thing that I did about the story about this woman going through like, what do they call it? Like regression therapy, where you got to go back and address the issues of your inner child. You feel me? Like reparenting your inner child. And some people do like past life regressions, the childhood regression therapy and shit like that. And how when she went into this regression therapy, she retrieved a memory that when she was a child in this terrible situation, that two women, a woman around her in her mid-20s, and then another woman who was older, like in her 40s, came into her bedroom. Both the women came into her bedroom that night, one after the other. And the older one took her hand and walked her out of her bedroom, out of this terrible situation. She said, and it wasn't until she went into regression therapy that she realized that the two women that came into her room in an attempt to protect her in that evening, she thought was like a dream or something, was actually her future self going back to prepare her and to protect her in that moment. Her 20-something-year-old self and then her 40-something-year-old self, the cyclicity of time. Past, present, and future existing simultaneously. Remember we was talking about that just a week ago or so? And I was saying, and I drew the little thing in my book, the little spiral. You feel me? You remember that? And I had in the middle of it, like the little baby. You feel? Did y'all remember that? Let me see if I can find it real quick. The little baby. You feel me? That was the spiral. In the spiral. What did I say? Let me just draw it real quick. I said that this is the world. This is where we are now. And this is a 5-dimensional symbol that we're looking at right here, this spiral. And in the center of this spiral is the mother. Who is the mother? The jet black ass mitochondrial Eve that is the beginning of us all. And at the end of this spiral, if you want to call it the present or the now or the moment, right? Here you got in the middle of the spiral, the middle. The beginning of us all, right here. You feel me? And the spiral, which is not 2-dimensional, this is 5-dimensional. You feel me? In every direction, past, present, and future, existing simultaneously, blah, 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 right? In the center is the mother, the beginning of us all. And from her, the unfolding of time in every direction and among all people, to the point that we are now in this moment, right here. You feel me? And that if we right here can return to center and through a redefinition of, a re-understanding of our relationship to the center, to the one, to the beginning of us all, it will have a ripple effect that we will feel in the now, Just like this woman went back and nurtured and protected her inner child until her inner child that grew up would go through this regression therapy and realize that it was herself, her future self, that came to protect her in those moments of despair. And that the new her, the adult her, attempting to understand through regression therapy what happened to the inner child, meeting in real time, it having a ricochet effect on our whole life. On our whole life. That's the work we have to do. And in that work, the spiral becomes the global womb. We, as the children of the one, become the mother of the one reemerging. Do you understand me? We now can mother the reemerging mother. This becomes the global womb that we all share in the creative process. How about she say this shit right here? Right here. She said the synthesis of hope and courage, potentially in the dynamics of the feminist revolution, includes the separation and return, since by breaking from the past that has been imposed on us, the past through the lens of someone else that dominates us and controls us understanding the past as it actually was and our role in it. Creating our own history, we change the past and what is right now. You understand me? Yo, when I'm telling you I'm having a whole fucking moment up in here, we simultaneously, what did she just say? In terms of the motif of the exiting and returning, the separation from and returning to, used against us, we can reclaim the separation from and the returning to, understanding that we go back to the beginning and know that everything that we do with the information that we have now that we didn't have before. We have a language now that we didn't have before. We have an understanding now that we didn't have before. It doesn't become something that can just, quote, shape the future. It can radically transform the past at the same time. And both are required. And it will have an impact in a 5-dimensional direction. You hear me? Now, in Pure Lust, she calls us females, people born with uteruses, the fates, the creators, the determiners of the fates, the strings of destiny that make up the total global tapestry. All of us in here together. Why is that a stretch? That's not a stretch for people born with uteruses to be the fates. Because every last one of y'all got them all. Every last one of y'all got a uterus that you came through. This is how she determines when you get here, your fate, your mother. You understand? Child is deep. She said, when we learn about the great women in history and we learn about the major landmarks in history that truly detail the oppression and victories of women, the synthesis also becomes conflict and vindication simultaneously, not in the sense of attempting to reduce the power, reduce those in power to objects. What did I just say? How the chairman used to talk about how what white people have done is made themselves the subjects of history and reduced everybody else on earth to the objects of history. She said, we ain't trying to do the same shit in reverse. We ain't trying to reduce those in power to objects, but in the sense of breaking down the masculine, feminine models thrust up on us by those powers and principalities that shrink the human potential of both women and men. She said, we're trying to change this shit. We ain't trying to have a female version of old ass shit. We ain't trying to have a chocolate-colored version of fucking oppression. We're not trying to have female implemented oppression. She said, we're trying to completely destroy the structures that have fucked up the whole planet in the first place, that have destroyed the entire human potential of everyone that exists on earth. Nobody can reach their true radical potential under this shit. Baby, listen, I know I had a whole word for y'all tonight. I said I was going to read this book for 30 minutes and be up off this here internet. If one were to judge by theological writings of the past several years, from Go to Harvey Cox to Leslie Duart to Panneberg, it would appear that the sense of being is disappearing from the contemporary consciousness. Don't this sound like today? What she just said, don't it sound like today? This book was written in 1973. She said, to hear all these modern writers, these theological writers, one would think, it would appear that the sense of being is disappearing from the contemporary consciousness. People, doesn't this sound like the hopelessness that exists right now today? People can't even form a healthy sense of themselves right now today. They are exhausted on oppression. They are exhausted of seeing oppression all day, every day. Don't this sound like today? Yo, before jumping to such conclusions, however, it would be well to consider at least 2 points. In the first place, existential questions have never been expressed explicitly in ontological terms, most of the time by most people, who indeed seem to have spent most of their energy evading such questions. The question of being and non-being, she's talking about philosophers. Of us motherfuckers who just sit up in Eiffel Towers, ivory towers, and philosophize about the world that's burning below. You feel me? They theorizing and pontificating while they are not touched by the suffering of others. That's what she's talking about. You feel me? The question of being and non-being, to be or not to be, in all of its poignancy, arises in times of great distress. Listen. That is, in marginal situations, such as proximity to death, and occasionally in times of extremely positive peak experiences. In the second place, it is becoming increasingly evident that among disaffected, the Eiffel Tower dudes that be up in the universities pontificating, be up in them, they protected spaces and they protected communities and shit. You feel me? Pontificating about their distant observing of the suffering of others, of how the population is fucked up, how the world's fucked up, they just pontificate. You feel me? Because they are, what she say, disaffected. In the second place, it is becoming increasingly evident that among disaffected members of the younger generation, younger in years or younger in spirit, there is a resurgence of ontological awareness, which theologians recently have tended to overlook. It appears that there has been a loss of sense of being in our culture. Come on. And that this is essentially what the alienated are experiencing and communicating. Are y'all listening to this book written in 1973? She might have been observing something different, but I was just talking about this to a friend today. That coming out of COVID, but hell, entering into the new century, you have 2 generations of young people whose lives have been baptized in fucking bloody warfare, 2001, in bloody warfare and unending warfare, and then a goddamn pandemic. And the response is going to increasingly be the overdiagnosis of and medication of young people whose rage is trying to bubble to the surface, is trying to express itself. And in every space and in every way, every institution is telling them to keep their mouth shut. You're crazy. You're not normal. Something is wrong with you. Put them on medication. Treat them. Diagnose them. Create new psychological diagnoses if you need be. Not that they are having a healthy response to a global social singular experience that is utterly insane. Y'all, you feel me? She said in the younger years, the resurgence of ontological awareness, blah, 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 they overlook, you know what I'm saying? And in this, she said, and that is essentially what the alienated young are experiencing and communicating, an awareness of depth of reality that liberates from false goddamn consciousness. As I have indicated, the liberation of women involves susceptibility to the experience of non-being in a most dramatic way, for women have been the most radically alienated of all segments of society. I am proposing that all authentic human hope is ontological, that it requires facing nothingness. This experience gives a sense of distance and relativity in relation to the symbols prevailing in one's culture. Without it, the mind tends to perceive these as literally true, or at least as permanently adequate for all cultural situations, which means that the human mind becomes paralyzed by its own products. That is, I think the essential inadequacy of non ontological theology of hope, which ostensibly stays within the terrain of biblical language, when women reach the point of recognizing that we are aliens in this terrain, the sense of transcendence and the surge of hope can be seen as rooted in the power of being, which perhaps, for lack of a better word, some would still call God. Yo, that's the end of the reading for tonight. I was through a while ago, but yo, that's the end of the reading for tonight. You understand? Okay. So for those of you who tuned in late and don't know what the hell I'm talking about, we're continuing this walk through another Mary Daly book called Beyond God the Father and Towards a Philosophy of Women's Liberation. Beyond God the Father and Toward a Philosophy of Women's Liberation. Listen, if you ain't beside yourself, you wasn't listening. If you ain't beside yourself, if you ain't in your motherfucking emotions, you didn't hear what she said. And the other thing, and I'll leave y'all with this because I'm going dancing, is this last 12 days. It started at the beginning of the new year, truth be told. But we kicked the doors in of June on a really radical, powerful, energetically impactful month. And we have been feeling it. It has been disruptive. It has been disturbing. It has been exciting. It has been powerful. It has been painful. It feels like we on a goddamn roller coaster ride that won't stop and is only going to intensify. You feel me? Today is that Mercury Cami I talked to y'all about day before yesterday. So today is that day. It's almost ending, but the energy of the Cami, like I was saying, is going to last through Tuesday, right? The immediate impact, right? But the energy of this particular Mercury Cami, we're going to feel for at least the next 3 months. You feel me? And that is about not only communication. You know, when I told go watch the video I posted 2 days ago, but not only communication, you know, through Mercury's archetype, our ability to communicate with heaven, but our ability to communicate with one another and the transference of ideas to and from between us, among us, the idea of community, establishing, defining for yourself new community, the ability to communicate. Music came up so big today, all day. Like messages in music, messaging in music came up so big today. That's one of the ways that Mercury communicates, is through the not so obvious. You understand? That's what I'm saying. You got to listen, not just quote here. You have to listen. You have to really take in, weed out, wade through, to extract from what you see, what you hear, what you come into contact with, the message that's in it. You understand? Listen, what was it? This last 15 days? Wait, what day is it? Yeah, this last 15, 16 days since like the end of March. I mean, the end of May. Child. Some days it's had me up in here dismayed and subdued. I ain't gonna lie. It's had me up in here subdued in the fetal position. Like I can't do this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I cannot do this shit no more. And then I'll get a burst of energy. I'm like, okay, we got it. Let's go. Then I'll be subdued all the fuck over again. I'm telling y'all. But the thing that stays keeping me so convinced, so convicted, is like today. These messages, not even subtle anymore, child. Not even some of the emails that y'all have sent me. Some of the comments on this page that y'all have sent me over the last week. Child, the mother is on the move in a most radical goddamn way, yo. In the most radical way. You understand? And these last 14, 15 days in general, this last week in particular, my dreams have been unbelievably amazing, radical, vicious. I had a dream about the temple. I had a dream about the building I want built for the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. So crystal clear, y'all. I was like, whoa. Like I could smell the wood. It was so real, right? That was just 2 days ago. I'm just telling you. This book, this woman, I've told y'all all through the reading of Pure Lust, this woman is what spell casting looks like. You understand? I'm rewatching this show right now because it's so deep. It's called The Discovery of Witches. The Discovery of Witches. It's on AMC. But for some reason, I got up today and was like, you know what? It was really good. And I just like, I crack watched it. I just like watched the whole thing in like 2 weeks. Let me see if there's something for me in it today. Let me see if there's a message in it for me today. And this battle, it's about witches and demons and vampires, right? And they're all mortal enemies or whatever. But this vampire and this witch fall in love, which is like the grand crime. Like it's the grand crime that you can commit is to, have emotions, have relations with another species, right? But this witch in the episode that I watched today, 2 episodes that I watched today, her husband, his father is like the chief patriarchal fucking vampire, right? And she is a witch who is just learning that she is a witch. Her powers when she was a toddler had been masked through this process called webbing, where her father cast what looked like a glistening spider web over her to bind her powers so that these powerful witches didn't know how powerful she was. And so her powers had been bound her whole life. Sound familiar? Her powers had been bound her whole life. She did not know she had powers. Even though her mom and daddy was witches, her aunties were witches. She's like, I just missed the line. She didn't know that her parents had spell cast her when she was a child to protect her, to hide her in plain sight. You feel me? And so she discovers that she is what is called a time weaver. She can travel through time. That's one of her big powers, is that they call her a time spinner, because she can not only travel through time, she can change time. And she goes back in time so that during the witch trials, so that she can find a powerful witch that can train her on how to use her powers, because she still doesn't know the depth of her powers or whatever, right? So these two stories are unfolding simultaneously. She's trying to master her craft so she can do this stuff. She don't even know what her destiny is yet, but she knows she got a destiny. You feel me? But I got to learn my skills first. I got to get my skills up. So she time loops so she can, train under a real witch. But her husband is a vampire. He's been alive a long time, like 1,100 years or some shit. You feel me? And he was tied to this family, this noble family, and the grand patriarch. He and his wife was like hunting witches, like killing witches and hunting witches, right? So he goes to his dad. It was like, yo, this is my wife. And his dad was like, this bitch a witch. What you mean this your wife? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? Well, she is at the house, like while they're there, because he got to get something from his dad. He got to do something from his dad, get something from his dad, whatever. And so she and him are constantly at it, these these antagonisms because she's a witch. She's in love with this vampire who is the son of this grand patriarch who is literally in real time going on escapades to murder covens, to wipe out covens. But something happens. He is very old. He's what you would consider ancient. He was the descendant of a clan of people who were worshipers of the goddess Diana. Okay? He had erected a temple in what was then 1590 modern France. Still, he had a temple built on his grounds to continue his worship of the goddess Diana. Okay? The witch's name is Diana, the girl. Her name Diana. You feel me? One day, they going toe to toe, like verbally, they going toe to toe, you know, because she ain't going back down. Feel me? And something happens when she like really stands up to him, because in the beginning, she trying to keep the peace. This is her husband's dad. They trying to win something from this dude. They ain't trying to bring no smoke. You feel me? But she also ain't gonna let him play her. You feel me? So for the longest time, she's been kind of like tiptoeing, still, you know, still giving him little jabs, but tiptoeing, right? Jabs, respectful. And on this day, something happened. She's like, you ain't about to play me. You feel me? I'm paraphrasing. This is the ghetto version of the discovery of the witches. You feel me? Baby, let me tell you what's that. This scene today was what I needed to see. It moved me so deeply because this grand patriarch, and as much of a patriarch as you can imagine one to be, that was him, is standing in front of her, and all of us, because he's mad, he's angry, and talking to her. All of a sudden, this glow starts to emanate off of her face. Very subtle, but it's evident. This glow starts to emanate off her face. And he says something to her. You know what? Let me grab this book because I wrote the quote down because it moved me so. He said, man, but I was like, yep, this is why I needed to rewatch this today. Here it is. Baby, when I say it moved me so. He said, because it's like he's almost bewitched when this like sparkle subtle starts coming off of her face. It's like his whole temperament changed. His whole he becomes like amazed, right? Because he hates witches, viscerally despises witches. Okay. He says, this is a quote: "There is an ancient prophecy that tells of a witch who would change the destiny of all creatures on earth. Well, some believe that this fearsome witch will alter our understanding of life itself. The old world will die and the new will be born." And he said to her, "I believe you are power indeed." I said, oh my God. And after that, he's like, you my daughter. Then did the ritual at the shrine of Diana. The stag came and gave the blessing of the goddess Diana, and Diana become the one. You feel me? I was like, look, I'm telling y'all that because, and then tomorrow I'm also doing this show. I really want y'all to watch it, The Discovery of Witches, because the second season, when she does the time jump, to me, it was almost on the verge of triggering because it seemed so real, so possible, so probable. I know that sounds crazy. It seemed so possible to be able to change time, to change the past, and it have an immediate impact on the present, on the future. Right? And then I watched that today because I wanted to write a song today. I still got maybe 45 minutes before I can see if that can happen. I was like, today I'm gonna write a song. I'm gonna write a song today. And so I gotta watch this because I was like, maybe there's something in here that will inspire me on this journey to write a song today, right? That's why I watched it. I was like, yeah, something's gonna happen. Somebody gonna say something divine, you feel me? And it's gonna inspire this thing that is on my head. I ain't doing nothing else but writing this song today. I ain't wrote a single lyric, just in case you wanted to know. But that's why I got up to watch this discovery of witches. You feel me? And the quote that I wrote down, right? Yeah, the quote that I wrote down was the one I just read you. You understand? Was the one I just read you about how, as the current patriarch standing in front of her, and he was like, I don't fuck with witches and we kill witches and all of this stuff. And then something happens and he reverts to his ancient goddess worshiping self, worshiping the goddess Diana. That's what happened. In that instant, he forgot the him that was the patriarch in 1590 France, massacring covens of witches. Something took hold of him, and his ancient self was reminded of his time being born and raised in goddess worshiping society. And he said, there's an ancient prophecy that is told of one who will change the threads of, what did he say? Change the destinies of all creatures on earth, that will actually alter our entire understanding of life itself. And in that moment, the old world will die and the new will be born. You feel me? That's what I read. That's what I saw today on the TV about 9 o'clock in the morning. How about 9 o'clock at night, I get up on here to read y'all a book called Beyond God the Father. Beyond God the Father and Toward a Philosophy of Women's Liberation. And in this book, on this night, after 12 hours ago, watching just a couple of episodes where this patriarch remembers his ancient goddess worshiping self in an instant, when he is faced with true power. What did he say? I believe that you are power indeed. That's what he said. When faced with true power and its potential, he is thrust back into his ancient self, his goddess worshiping self. And says, you are she. You the one. Forget what I said. You the one. And then 12 hours later, I'm reading this book. I ain't never read this book. When I'm reading it for the first time, when I'm reading it to y'all, I'm reading it for the first time. And in the section that we read on this night, she talks about the fates as women being able to change time. That's what she said. That's what she said. She said, when we unearth the past, when we find out who the buried heroines are of our past, when we unearth those oppressions and aggressions against women that have been buried for centuries, time will be, the past will be transformed, history will be transformed, and at the same time we will return to a world. At the same time, talking about right now, at the same time we will return to a world made new. Yo, on the same day, I'm telling you. But you have to be able to see. You have to be able to see. It didn't occur to me until after, because I'm reading and I'm hyped. But it's not until I'm talking to you now that I'm remembering, oh God, I was watching this shit to try to find some inspiration to write a motherfucking song tonight. And how about the one little piece I watched today was about what the book reading was going to be about tonight. About simultaneously going into the past, collectively, every living being on earth, this us. This is our womb. The world is our womb. Our responsibility being to nurture the beginning of us as the seed that will re-emerge. This reciprocal relationship between past, present, and future. This unfolding and emerging that happens across dimensions. Y'all. But you have to be able to see, because I didn't even see it in the moment. It wasn't until I started talking, y'all, calling myself summing up and being done with y'all. And I was like, oh yeah, there was this quote. I don't even remember why I was bringing the quote to you, but it was so good. It was about like the web and the weaving and whatever. But reading it and realizing in the instant that what this quote was about was a preparation for what would happen tonight. And what happened tonight is a confirmation that something is happening to us, but we have to be open to see it. We have to be open to hear it. We have to be open to internalize in an instant, in this moment, that something has happened to us collectively. We have experienced this together. This isn't just my experience. Being able to see where the strands connect, where the threads of destiny converge, when they cross, and this crossing is an experience that we share together. This is me teaching you this year, and I know you know it. We all up in here fucked up. We all up in here despairing and shit. We move past the despair. What did Mary Daly say tonight? Baby, look, if you subdued, if you dismayed and shit, the only way to guarantee the creative, revolutionary hope that the whole world needs is in confrontation. That's it. We ain't got no choice. We ain't got no choice. That confrontation can look a million different ways, but it is in confrontation. What am I always talking about? Building institutions of dual and contending power. If we aren't contending with this bitch, we ain't winning. And appealing to this bitch, begging this bitch, protesting at the feet of this bitch, faced off with armed thugs, singing kumbaya songs, is not contending. It's not contending. It's not contending. She said, baby, we have to have the courage to contend. That's what she said. She said we have to have the courage to simultaneously seek vengeance and yet still go deeper. Y'all, this reading was a word for y'all ass tonight. That's all I got to say about that. Because I still call myself going to do a damn temple service in the morning. And I'm up in here dismayed. I may do a temple service. I didn't intend to be up on here all night. I'm going to do a temple service tomorrow. Because I did a reading for the temple tonight. I pulled cards on this powerful Cami tonight. This Mercury Cami, because Mercury is about communicating deep, penetrative ideas, the transference of information, whether psychically or verbally or through songs or images on the screen that speak to you, and you don't know why they speak to you in a moment until the moment, 12 hours later, where those two things, those seemingly unrelated things converge, confirming that something is happening to us all right now in this minute. Yo, you understand? That's what's happening. That's what's happening. You understand? This whole week has been like that. And I mean, not subtly, like having to stop and take a minute because, oh my God, did that just actually happen? You understand? So, Let's see. So let me read some of y'all comments. Challenging every aspect you thought was true and finding out it was a lie and realizing you were blind the entire time. Yes. Yes. I feel like even in a lot of fantasy books, they promote this sense of like not being able to take revenge at the end, letting your enemy live to see another day. Baby, come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Now, I want y'all to know something because I want y'all to know something. It is an ongoing and ever present theme. How even when somebody violently, horribly transgresses against the victim or the protagonist, right? The protagonist will feel guilty or bad about wanting revenge, talking themselves down out of justice and vengeance. It's an ongoing theme for a reason, because there is not a single goddess in any culture, in any society, in any mythology. Not one, not a single, even the peaceful goddesses. There is not a goddess that is opposed to violent justice. Not one. Not one. Not one. Not one. Not one. Mm-mm. Even the Jolly Mother goddesses, they have faces. They have phases. And that mother, that's the jolly loving mother, when offended or transgressed again, will turn around and slay. You understand? So this is a theme. Blind, turn the other cheek. We talked about blind forgiveness, forgiving a motherfucker who didn't even ask for forgiveness. You understand? Extending forgiveness to one who hasn't even asked for it and ain't paid no time, ain't paid no debts, no nothing. You just constantly, I forgive you, and I hope God forgive you too. That ain't no God. That's why they hate the goddess. That's why they are scared of the goddess. They scared of that face of the goddess, and she exists in all of them. We'll love you up. We'll love you real good, but cross is wrong. You understand? Cross is wrong. Bitch, and we'll pull out the blades and enjoy it. We'll dance while we doing it. You feel me? Yeah, it's an ongoing thing. This blind forgiveness, this culture of absolution. You understand? This culture of absolution. This internalized guilt. What do they call that in psychological circles? When the victim turns in on themselves as opposed to directing all of their grief, rage, fear, and anger towards the aggressor, they call it false guilt, where the victim will turn in on themselves and say, well, what did I do for that person to do this to me? What about me made it so this person did this to me? Internalize some kind of wrongdoing on their part instead of turning all them questions, all that rage, all that everything onto the aggressor. False guilt, right? We do that collectively. We do that collectively. You understand? And our traditions teach us to do that. Absolutionism and all of that dumbass shit. You feel me? There ain't a goddess nowhere in the histories, nowhere, that didn't have vengeance on the menu. You understand? That did not have justice on the menu. You feel me? Yeah. Because taking their lives will mean that our hands are tainted. That's the teaching. But even their own ugly ass Bible says the opposite. I might pull my King James Version Bible out on y'all tomorrow during temple service and tell y'all what their own ugly ass Bible says about vengeance, about God's demand to spill blood against wrongdoers. And not, he go off. That Bible go off. Feel me? Now, our blood is not tainted. As a matter of fact, there's a scripture that says something to the effect of, do not build a nation with the blood of the innocent. You understand? Do not build a nation with the blood of the innocent, because the only thing that will purify the land is the blood of the aggressor at the hands of the innocent. The only thing that's going to harmonize, what did I talk to y'all about earlier? The only thing that's going to balance this, the only thing that's going to harmonize it. Do not build a nation off the blood of the innocent, for it corrupts the land or something like that. It corrupts the land. And the only way for the land to be purified is for the blood of the guilty to be slain at the hands of the innocent. He says, the meek shall wash their feet in the blood of their enemies. That's your Bible that says that. The meek, the meek, the oppressed, will wash their feet in the blood of their enemies. That's what the Bible say. That's what the Bible say. That was the portions of the Bible that Nat Turner was reading. He was reading them scriptures. You feel me? So y'all might have to pull the KJV out on y'all tomorrow, so y'all can hear the good stories in the Bible. You feel me? That sounds like a mother. She'll let you get away with something for so long before she turns around. Yes, and wear your ass out. That part, right? I love you. Like, don't make me tell you again. How many times I done told you? Listen, it's the last time I'm telling you. You feel me? Then she done pulled out the belt and started wearing on your backside, and you act like she done did you wrong, like she wrong. Yeah. Ife. Oh. Hey, goddess. Yes. Yes, baby. So this reading tonight was something else. Mary. Yeah. Mary was on one today. But I'm telling y'all, especially for the rest of this month, because there's still like 3. Let me look at my calendar. Still like 3. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are still 4 big, giant astrological PowerPoints left in this month. There ain't but 2 weeks left in the month, and it's still 4 major events happening through the very end of this month. So y'all got to be paying attention. Start journaling. It really helps to keep you like psychically and spiritually sharp, so that you don't miss those things. It's those subtle things that are going to speak the loudest right now. It's those seemingly insignificant things that are going to show up more as foreground right now. You understand? So that happened so much today, yo. I ain't even told you. I'm gonna tell y'all tomorrow on the temple service what the fuck happened today. I'm telling you, crazy shit happened today. Not just the thing y'all just watched me go through in real time. Not just that. That times 10 all day, today, all week for the last 7 days. Yeah. But you have to be able to see. You have to be still enough to hear. Because she's teaching us something in these moments. There's something she wants us to know. This event that I've been talking to y'all about now for 3 years, November 19th of 2024, is everything. I have been talking to you guys about November 19th of 2024 for 3.5, almost 4 years now. It is going to set the stage for the whole next age, minimally, for the whole next age, for the whole next 2,500 years. November 19th, 2024 is about to set the stage. And how do we participate? How do we show up right now? What position do we get in to take a hold of the reins of goddamn power that are being handed to us, gifted to us? But we have to be able to see. We have to be able to understand the assignment before we can grab a hold of the reins of power. We have to do that. You understand? And it has to be through active, collective participation. Not individualistic, over the fuck somewhere observation. You understand? That ain't gonna cut it. It has to be through active, what did she say? Courageous spell casting ass participation. You feel me? Anyway, that's all I got for y'all. I'm about to go dancing. I love y'all. Appreciate you for rocking with me. This is so funny. There's so many more of y'all tuned in late at night than 6 o'clock or whatever. So I guess this our time. The temple service tomorrow is going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. It's only going to be 2 hours. It's going to be from 9 to 11. Then if you are interested in getting readings, I told y'all the day before yesterday, I've decided that my schedule for divination, for readings, for whole wellness consultations are only going to be on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm only going to, I don't want my schedule all over the place like it has been. So Saturday and Sunday is when I will be available for readings and for wellness consultations. Those are, you can get a 30-minute reading, a 1-hour reading, or a 1-hour wellness consultation. The consultation comes with a typed out, usually takes me about 5 days to type out the results of your consultation. That comes with everything that you could possibly need. Plus, next week before the summer solstice, I'm actually going to do our next workshop, which is on the next element. So last season, we did the wood element, which was the liver, gallbladder, in 5 elements series. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I practice traditional Chinese medicine, and 5 elements theory is the style of Chinese medicine that I use. And so I've been teaching 5 elements theory here on my YouTube channel with the change of every season. So we did last season, the season that we're still in spring, I did the wood element, which is the liver gallbladder. The next element that we're transitioning into on June 20th, on the summer solstice, is the fire element, which is the heart, the pericardium, the small intestines, and the large intestines. That's the fire element. So I'm going to teach a workshop on the fire element, how to eat for the fire element, what kind of activity to be involved in the fire element, what to avoid during the fire season, which is the summer, and colors to wear and not to wear during the fire element season. And then in late August, we'll do the next season, which is what we call Indian summer, and so on. So with the change of every season, I will teach you guys a workshop on how to care for yourself in the transition from one season to another and how to behave throughout that season. All right. So I'll be doing that next week. I believe I have that scheduled for next Monday before the summer solstice. Okay. So that's all I got for y'all tonight. You can email me at releaseheartcenter@gmail.com to book a reading or to book a wellness consultation. releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. So tomorrow after the temple service, I'll be doing readings from 1. I think I have myself scheduled from 1 to 9 tomorrow, and then from 11 to 5 on Sunday. From 1 to 9 on Saturday, and from 11 to 5 on Sunday. So if you want to book an appointment, again, email me at releaseheartcenter@gmail.com, releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. Have a great night. We're still in the swing. We're still right in the swing of this Mercury Cami that was today. So for the next 3 days, power up, conduct ritual, clean your place, play some music, write, do whatever you got to do, but power up, power up, power up, power up. Okay. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow. This is Cassandra Faye Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence.